Great to see you, Sean.
You just run through the checklist. So many, what I found on the economy, on energy, on foreign policy, promises made, promises kept, and where do conservative principles work?
Well, I thought it was a very strong speech. The president started off with just laying out the incredible successes we've seen in the past 2 years, the economic successes, the lowest unemployment in half a century, the lowest African-American Hispanic unemployment ever recorded, the lowest Asian American unemployment ever recorded, the lowest unemployment for people with disabilities. I mean, it's a staggering record of results. He laid out the record on national security, rebuilding our military, defeating our enemies, defeating ISIS. And that is a testament to policies that work. But I think tonight we also saw just how extreme, just how out of touch the modern Democratic Party has become. You know, at lunch today with the other Republican senators, I suggested to the newly elected Republicans, I said, look, my favorite game to play during the State of the Union. I said, number one, it's going to be good calisthenics. You're going to stand up and down and up and down and up and down. You get your aerobics for the day. But I said, number two, just spend your time watching the Democrats, watching their faces, the agony as they're trying to decide whether to clap, whether to stand. I mean, right up to the opening minute, when the president is introduced, half the Democrats stayed sitting on their rear ends and wouldn't clap. You know what? Every time I was there for Barack Obama, I stood up and applauded, not because I agreed with his policies, but because I respect the office of the presidency. You saw just about every Democrat stay sitting, refuse to clap for the lowest African-American unemployment in history.
I cannot believe it. I'm glad the president brought up the issue of this isn't even about abortion. You know, think of what the governor of Virginia said.
Yes.
Well, we'll deliver the baby and we'll make sure the baby's comfortable. Then the mother will decide whether or not if the baby needs help or resuscitate it. And then we'll have a discussion. 6 states, this has now become the Democratic cause. You were in the Senate earlier today.
It is repulsive where the Democrats have gone. Northam was talking not even about late-term abortion. He was talking about aborting an infant after it's born. That is staggering. You know, it was sad when the president talked about ending late-term abortion. It wasn't that long ago Bill Clinton stood up and said abortion should be safe, legal, and rare. Now, he didn't mean it, but that's what he said. Tonight, virtually every Democrat in the chamber stood stone-faced in support of late-term abortion. That is how radical and extreme they've been. It was 1 or 2 Democrats in the entire Congress who decided late-term abortion was too much for them. Same thing on the border, where on open borders, virtually every Democrat supports open borders, and anyone watching this can tell that.
I look at the Democratic Party now as radical, extreme, and a real socialist party. We've never witnessed a party go this far left.
I think my favorite moment in the speech was when the president said, "We will never become a socialist country." And the look of terror. Okay, somebody needs to set that moment to a horror film, to the theme from Halloween, because you see the Democrats terrified, and about half of them stood and half didn't. That photograph needs to be remembered for a long time. Every Democrat who sat has just told their constituents they want America to be a socialist country. Many of the other Democrats who stood, they want it also, but they're at least going to pretend for a little while longer. But they sorted the wheat from the chaff, as they say, and they did it in front of the whole country.
The president made a challenge about protecting our borders. 90% of our heroin, fentanyl, cartels, gang members, homicides, sexual assaults, and violent assaults. Yeah. That is not a manufactured crisis. You know, because you are on a border state. I've been to the Rio Grande a number of times. My question is, these are things they supported just a couple of years ago. Have they made a decision as a party to put their feelings towards the president, hatred of the president, ahead of what they themselves advocated for?
Yes. Back in 2013, Chuck Schumer and every single Democrat in the Senate voted in favor of 350 miles of border wall. Just a couple of weeks ago, Chuck Schumer and every Democrat in the Senate shut down the federal government to stop 234 miles of border wall. Now, Sean, explain to me how you vote for 350 miles and you force a government shutdown over 234 miles, and their position has been not even 1 inch of border wall.
I am worried that some of your fellow Republicans in your body in the United States Senate are not going to support if the president brings in the military. This is a national security issue. And it is, with those numbers and those statistics, a national emergency. Are there really Republicans that are going to back away from this? Because you stood up alone on the issue of repealing and replacing. And I watched you that night, and I was proud of you that night. And I'm thinking, if they do this, they lose me. I will never support them.
One of two things is going to happen. Either the Democrats are going to blink and compromise. And by the way, Trump has been clear that he would take less than 234 miles. He's not insisting on an absolute $5.7 billion number, but he needs a real investment to secure the border and keep this country safe. Either the Democrats break and compromise, which I don't think they're going to. It's possible, but I don't think they're going to. If they don't, I think it is all but inevitable that the president acts unilaterally, because I think the Democrats are forcing him to do it.
And if Republicans don't support him, you could they're useless.
Well, and I think
they are useless.
I think it is important, though, that if the president does that, there are a number of different statutory bases he can use, that it needs to be grounded in law. There are paths he can take to do that. And it's important that every president, Republican or Democrat, be bound by the Constitution and law. I have every faith that this administration will do that.
I agree with you.
But how they do it will matter, because we don't want to set a precedent for a slippery slope for a Democrat to abuse his or her power.
Totally agree, but this is a real crisis.
We've got to secure the border unequivocally.
Senator, thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you, my friend.
All right. Senator Cruz, a border state. He knows.